Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me on the Daily Reflection. I am Reverend Shireen, and today we're going to be using the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck created by John Holland. Let's just tune in and set our space. Welcome to Thursday, getting really close to the solstice, to Christmas, to the holiday season. It's just starting to really kind of sink in that here we are. So just allow ourselves to be present. May it be with the blessings of the Supreme Being that whatever happens during this reading will benefit each of us in our spiritual growth, awareness, understanding, and illumination to what we want to see most. All right. And the card for today, Thursday. Shadow work. Shadow work, shadow work. This came up very strongly in the Wide Open Wednesday reading. I was diving into the pool, finding all of those things, finding the hurts, so it's still really the process of allowing yourself to see where past hurts, things that you have buried, things that you really don't even like to recognize exist within yourself are, in fact, driving the ship. And it's your opportunity to not struggle with them. This may look like a struggle card, but it's more of a, I see you, I recognize you, I know you're there, and I know what you went through. And really what I see this being is hugely about being able to find self-forgiveness. And I think that is one of the most challenging things ever. And you might find that there are things that if you are noticing past situations, past moments, they may seem like little moments to you where you recognize that you said something that, while you meant it one way or it was coming from a certain area from you, you recognize that it hit somebody else like a barb, like an arrow straight to the heart, and you recognize that it hurt them. And you may find yourself replaying that scene in your head and wishing you could do it different. That is the kind of place, that is the kind of shadow place where you're being invited to look at and to forgive yourself for what happened there. And if need be, to ask for forgiveness from the other person. But most importantly, to look at it and recognize what ego was in play, what other circumstances were in play, what things you were going through, what they were going through, and just validate the whole process, but allow yourself the forgiveness of that maybe wasn't the best thing to do or say or act or have, and to allow yourself to forgive yourself for that moment. And just keep doing it. Bring in the forgiveness. If you find it replaying, then you haven't fully forgiven yourself, or you haven't fully forgiven them. It could go both ways. It might be something where somebody did something that hurt you, and maybe just looking at that and turning the perspective of they may have been in a whole different place in when they communicated that. So, all right. Solar plexus chakra, personal power and ego, both of them sit in there. Very apropos for shadow work. So really notice where your ego comes out and where you say or do things to make yourself be right, to make yourself be the winner, to make yourself feel good, to make yourself not scared. Notice all of those actions and the way you are that tie directly into the self-protective mechanism that the ego is. Because that's the ego's entire function, is to protect you, is to keep you safe, and to survive at a high level of survival. Not just survival of, oh, I made it, but survival of not only did I make it, but I won. I did it right. And it ties in there. So validate that your ego often gives you the drive to do things beyond just surviving, but also recognize where it plays games to always be in control, to always be right, to always be the winner. And start allowing some of those behaviors, some of those things to come up where you can forgive yourself for past actions, and you can choose now to maybe do it more from a place of wild compassion, a place of heart versus a place of power. Looks like we got one more card in here. Fulfillment of wishes. You can have your heart's desires. You can have all the things that you want for yourself without having to be the winner. Can you hear that? Can you feel that? You can have everything you want for yourself without having to be the winner, or without having somebody else not have what they want. And truly, again, it comes back to the shadow work of recognizing that we are all here on this planet together, co-creating, experiencing, playing, interacting, so that we can achieve our heart's desires. And we can achieve them in ways that allow everybody to have their deepest heart desires. But most importantly, because all we can control, all we can influence, all we can do is live from ourselves. That's all we have control over. Everything else is circumstances, interplay, the co-creation, the mechanisms, the wheels. What we have control over is what we do. So focus in, allow yourself to start receiving the things your hearts desire, and know that a lot of this shadow work and a lot of the ego comes up trying to help you achieve that. Truly. So validate your shadow self. Validate all of the pains and the hurts that are causing you to make choices. And if they're the choices that don't lead to the desires of your heart, if the choices are actually leaving you away from it, look at where there's things that need to be healed, things that need to be forgiven. Look at where you need to let go of being in control, let go of being the winner. Don't let go of your personal power, your authority, your ability to be yourself. But don't make it about winning. Because you win by being. You win by achieving the desires of your heart. And you win by coming from that heart space. So allow yourself to be in control of your ego. Recognize your ego in play. Allow it to inspire you. Allow it to do its job of letting you know where you're treading into waters that may not be safe. But don't let it be the controller. It's supposed to be the guide. You're the authority. We have lots of response systems: our emotional response, our ego response, our physical response. All those things are response systems to let us know how we're doing, how we're navigating all of these things that we want to create. So allow them to be the response. Allow them to give you the feedback, but don't allow them to drive the ship. You get to be in control. You get to be the one that decides, and you get to be the one that heals yourself. So allow yourself that process of recognizing your ego, validating it, loving it, bringing it to the light. Your ego can be part of the shadow work, but validate that it's just a response. It just wants you to have good life. But the way we play with it sometimes creates more shadow, creates more pain. So allow yourself to see whatever you need to see in all that and start bringing it to the light. And the biggest key is coming from your heart and finding that self-forgiveness. So be blessed. Take care. We'll see you for the weekend reading. Ciao.